Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, sweetie?
Good. How are you?
Beautiful butterfly. I'm doing great. Doing great. Happy to be
Whew.
awake. Happy to be alive. Welcome,
Amen to
guys, to
that.
day 127 of the In This Season podcast, Mom. You look beautiful, Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been up. I've been up and ready to get. I'm in just this peaceful state of mind. I had quiet morning. I already had my coffee, so I got my
Oh,
water. You know,
oh wow.
in
You
my,
you
my
you already
pretty
fueled
cup.
up.
Huh?
Says you already fueled up, huh?
Yeah, I'm ready for the day. Ready for the
Good.
day.
Good. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So let's see who's rocking with us. I got a comment.
Okay.
Miss who is it, Brandon? Da da da
Miss
da.
Brenda. Miss
And who
Brenda.
else? And who
And Big
else?
Mike.
Big Mike.
Big
Hey,
Mike.
they gonna get their plate. They like
Yeah.
y'all ain't get. They putting everything on the plate. So,
Good, good.
all
Well,
right, let's
welcome,
hop
Mom.
into it.
All right. You got some work to do today, huh?
A little bit,
A
yeah,
little bit? Good.
yeah, yeah. Got to get out and take care of a few things this morning, and I need to come back and do some work here, like this, admin work here. But it'll work. It'll get there. I'll
Okay.
get there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, welcome again, everybody, to the In the Season podcast, day 127, with the mother son duo, the powerful butterfly, who's right on that side of your screen, and then myself, her son, Brandon. If you haven't been here, if this is your first time, or if you've been here, the whole time, first off, thank you for joining us and joining the conversation, what we call the cookout or the barbecue. You have been invited. And if you're here, you might as well stay if you haven't been invited. So thank y'all for being here. If you don't know already, we are going through the book Daily Motivations for African American Success. This was originally started during Black History Month, and we're going to go just 28 days. And now we're almost at 128 days at day 127. So it's extended much longer than Black History Month. Much like our success cannot just be pitted down to 1 month of the year. So this book is titled Daily Motivations for African American Success. I would Mama, show them what the front of the book looked like. There you go. There you go. So hers a little banged up too. Y'all, guess what? So I got a new bird, and my bird during the show for the last week, the bird has been flying around and kind of pecking around, and it's been looking at me like, "Hey, feed me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me." And I call myself letting the bird go free, and I leave the room for a minute, and the bird tore up my book. Y'all, look what the bird did to my book. So, Daily Motivation for African American Success looks like it needs a replacement. So, I might have to get the book again just because the cover's messed up. I don't know why, but I don't like my cover like that. But all praise to God, we got it situated. Still got my book. None of the pages are messed up. But if you can, go ahead and get the book from Dennis Kimbro, Daily Motivations for African American Success. You can find it at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or wherever you get your books. Okay. So, a little bit about this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So please go get that book. That's a little bit about the book, and what we do is go through each passage, give you a breakdown, give you the insights that we saw, and we hope that you all who are joining us join the conversation in the chat room and the comment section to let us know what you think and what insights you have about whatever passage we read from Daily Motivations for African American Success. Over to you, Mom. You on mute.
I was saying I'm good. KL says, Happy Thursday. Good to see you. I was thinking about you this morning because we hadn't seen you or heard from you. So I just kind of wanted to make sure you were okay. I was going to check on you, but you're checking in. So thankful
Good.
for that. Glad all is well your way. So let's rock with it, Brandon. I don't think I have anything. Yeah. Yesterday was a loner day for me. I
Hmm.
was, here at the house. I only left to go through the grocery store and got like 3, 4 items and was back in.
Okay.
So I had a very reflective day where I just, kind of did my own thing in my own space. So I'm good. I'm good.
Well, good. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly had some things happen, but, you know, all things happen for reasons and all things are still coming our way. And the things that did happen, the one thing particularly, it's a growing moment. It's a growing.
Okay.
I'm continuing to grow. So let's grow some more.
Let's grow
Let's
some
get,
more.
yep.
Yeah. Even if it's, and I love, that we're able to use some of the things that we're learning about and reading about in this book in our day-to-day lives. I think you mentioned at least four or five right there just from the titles, um, and growing through things and things like that. So it's just good to see you. The obstacles that come is like duck on a water's back. It just rides off, slides off, and you keep on, pedaling through through the lake. So, or the murky water, even when you can't see what's on the other side, or what's under you, you still have faith and you still stay afloat. So congratulations to
Yeah.
you.
I agree, Brandon. It's like this one particular thing is like just a thorn. I mean, really, y'all. And I did reflect on it all night. Like I feel like I struggled with it internally as I slept. And I
Mhm.
remember I got up this morning and just kind of looked in the mirror and thought, well, I think I think I looked very worn when I got up this morning and went and I knew, because every time I would wake up last night, it would be on my mind. It would be on my mind, and I would just say a prayer. But this morning, I just felt like, God, this is not my battle, and I got to stop trying to win it. It's not my battle. So
Hmm.
there you go. Let's go with it.
Cool, cool. Well, I'm glad to have you here in good spirits, looking good. You don't look worn now. I think I look more worn than you. I woke up, rolled over, and grabbed my book. You look beautiful. So it's not wearing
It
on
may
you at
have been
all.
the releasing of, and it's not my battle. It may have just been, 'cause that's the last thing I said about it. Like, this is not my battle, and I got to stop trying to win this battle.
Right,
Matter of
right.
fact, I got to just step out of the ring. It's not my fight.
Mm,
So I'm
mm,
gonna leave the arena. I'm just gonna leave,
mhm.
So there you go.
Well, hey, have you read the chapter today at all?
Of course, I had to type it in there.
Oh, you did. Okay, okay. I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to it. Let's
Well, I
see.
haven't read it. The title, I had to put it in. I
Oh,
haven't
you read
read
the
the
title,
passage.
the
Yeah.
passage. Okay, okay, cool, cool. Well, today on June 6th, it's titled Mo Money. Not more money, Mo Money with the M-O apostrophe. Mo Money. And our quote comes from the comedian, the legend, Red Fox. Red Fox, who says, "It's true, money won't buy happiness, but it will make a hell of a down payment." It's true, money won't buy happiness, but it will make a hell of a down payment, by Red Fox. And this one's short, so we're gonna get through this pretty quick. What would you do if you won $1 million? Insurance tycoon A.G. Gaston asked. And he said, "It's a question you'd better be able to answer. Rich is a word that is rich in meaning. It means magnificent, sumptuous, having an abundant supply, fertile, extremely productive, containing choice ingredients, pleasantly full and mellow, warm and strong in color, and amusing. Most of these synonyms don't necessarily have anything to do with money. And yet, how often do we think of being rich as simply having a lot of money? The popular misconception is that riches refers to things that are scarce, things that only a few people have. Not so. Many of the most magnificent, sumptuous, and pleasantly full experiences in life are readily available for little or no cost. We all have riches. Some of us have them in money, but most have riches in talent, ideas, creativity, loving, caring, wisdom, and beauty. It is not by a man's purse, said S.B. Fuller, but by his character that he is rich or poor. The secret is to use the riches that you possess and the ones you can obtain to enjoy personal fulfillment. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person you're going to invite to the show tomorrow. And this affirmation goes, there are people who have money and people who are rich. Being the latter is much more desirable.
Mm.
There are people who have money and people who are rich. Being the latter is much more desirable. And last time, there are people who have money and people who are rich. Being the latter is much more desirable. All right, Mom, what you got from that?
You want to make $1 million or you want to spend $1 million?
And is that rich?
Huh? You want
And
to make a
is that a rich
million?
mentality?
Yep, or spend $1 million. And y'all might say, of course, if I make it, I want to spend it. That may be your take. But Bernie, get this. It's true. Money won't buy happiness, but it will make. And it's interesting, y'all. I put hellwa and I liked it. I thought, that's interesting. But it is because my book is messed up, but it's a hell of a down payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you read it right. So it's saying it's a down payment on what? And think about this. You go, remember back in the days, and maybe they still do layaway, right? You got to put a down payment on the layaway, but you don't get it out. You got to keep paying into it until you pay it off. So for those people who may win or have $1 million, and for a moment it might make them happy, right? Oh man, I got what it takes to get what I want. And then they realize after they get what they want, they still feel the same way inside. Because it doesn't buy happiness, it buys things. And things won't consistently make you happy because the world is always creating new ways, new things. Your mind is always changing and growing. So it's a down payment on some of the things that you think. And some of these that they listed here may be some of your things. It's a down payment only, but you have to do the internal work to reap the fruit of that down payment, to get what you put in out. And sometimes, hey, you might show up to the layaway box or store or whatever and say, hey, I just want to get the bike out. I can't afford the TV right now. Can you just let me get the bike off layaway? Right? And you may have to keep going back. In life, you do have to keep going inside, no matter how much money you have. And I'm reminded of the homeless person that said, I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all are controlled by this world. I'm much more free. I get to come and do as I please. I don't, it's not where I sleep, it's that I sleep. And he didn't say it in those words. He just said, I don't know how y'all do what y'all do. I don't know how somebody tells you what time to come in, what time you can take a lunch, what time you go home, that you can't take off today. You know, some of the richest people, I'm telling you, in spirit, may not have a place to lay their head tonight or last night. Brandon, you mentioned how the people that are going through so many things in this world right now, um, and how still they love and trust God. And they say, don't pray for me, pray for yourself. Because they still understand. that God is still who he is, right? So there are people who have money and people who are rich. Do you have money, but you're not rich? Do you not have money, but you still see yourself as rich? Right? And the character word and being the latter is much more desirable. But here it says, it is not by a man's purse, said S.B. Fuller, but by his character that he is rich or poor. And the back of the book says, if there is any power that can reverse the fortunes of a race, it is character. Your very own personal character, not your wallet, not your status, not your degree. And he says, every thought which enters our mind, every word we utter, every deed we perform makes its impression on the innermost fiber of our being. Rich or poor, what are your thoughts? What are your deeds? What are your actions? Right? Do you have character? What does that look like to you? When people, and not that people matter, I'll say you yourself, when you think about who you are, does it make you proud? Are you proud of the person that you are today? In spite of what you have, where you come from, and where you're going? Can you just sit in the seat of your character and say, you know what? I'm at peace with who I am and where I'm going. Or are you the people of the lie? Lying to yourself about who you are, what you're doing, how you're treating people, right? Because if you're lying to yourself, you're lying to me. If you're lying to somebody, you will lie to me. And so, are you at peace with your yeses, with your nos, with your bank account, right? With what's in your wallet right now, what's in your mind, your thoughts. So, this is kind of a simple one, Brandon. And I'll just leave. More money won't change anything unless you change. Actually, if you don't change, more money is just more problems and more people in your life. Because y'all know when you make them dollars, they holler. The people holler, right? So over to you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mom. Appreciate that. It's true. Money won't buy happiness, but it will make a hell of a down payment. And I think what Red Fox is getting at um, in that statement is there's a difference, and there's certain things that we need as human beings: a roof over our head, a something to eat, to drink. So once your needs are met, in my faith, it says that if you have a roof over your head and you don't and you're not in fear of of the walls basically collapsing, if you have enough food for the day, just for the day, um, then it is as if you have the entire world and everything in it, right? So if you have enough for today, if you have safety and security, and you have food and drink for the night, it is as if you have everything, and you have the world and everything in it. And consider the fact, and I'll tell a quick story or parable. Imagine, and we may have used this analogy before, but imagine someone comes to you and says, all right, $10 billion right now, you can have $10 billion. It's going to instantly go to your account. Most people were like, yes, I'm very excited, I'm happy, like this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. But if you take this $10 billion, you won't have tomorrow.
Hmm.
You won't have tomorrow. Your life is over. You can have 24 hours of being a 10 billionaire, but after that's done, so are you. Now, now you have I won't say a moral quandary, but you have a a dilemma that to me is simple. And I think, and I hope to everyone else, this is pretty simple, that you would turn down the $10 billion. Why would you turn down $10 billion if your whole life goal and success, and you're basing it just on riches, quote unquote, financial riches? Then that's a successful life, right? You made $10 billion. But what you know, what I know, what we all know is that there's so much more to life than dollars. And if we were to just focus on the dollars, life would not make sense. So know that you are more wealthy than the richest man in the world, because the richest man in the world might not have tomorrow. And at any given moment, you would choose tomorrow over all the money in your account. Now let's go back. If someone said, I'm going to take all the money out of your account, all the money out of your account, you will not have a dime at all, you know? But I will let you see uh, your great great grandchildren. You won't have another dollar in your life, but you'll be taken care of. You won't have to worry about food. That'll be taken care of. You won't have to worry about shelter. That'll be taken care of. And you get to see your great great grandchildren. And you could be a young man right now, a young woman, and you're going to see your great great grandchildren. Many of us will see that and the intrinsic value in that and know that, man, that's valuable. I don't have to worry about food. I don't have to worry about shelter. And I get to see my great great grandchildren. That seems like a life well lived. And what I'm saying is that many of us already have some or all of that potential in our lives currently, meaning that it's already been decreed. And this is a part of my faith, that it's already been decreed by God how much money you're going to make, right? His decree can change due to your prayers and due to, his own, his own changing decree, because God, I believe, is always creating. So every moment is being recreated. Every time you take a breath, this second is different from this second. God created everything in the universe again because the time is different. Everything is being created all the time, right? So God, the creator, has already decreed, in Islam, we say that in your birth, it's what the angels whisper or say about you in the womb is whether you'll be a believer or not, how much money you'll make, things of that nature. It's already decreed. So many of us, whatever's coming to us is coming to us. There's nothing we can do to limit it. So who are we not to have faith throughout the process? Who are we to love people or to love things and use people when we're supposed to love people and use things? Many of us have that switched around, right? So all that to say is money isn't doesn't buy you happiness. At the same token, we can say things like money and happiness and connect those, but also we say money is the root of all evil. So there's a polarizing effect of money, whereas it's like the absolute value. It could either be negative or positive. What depends, and the major determining factor, is your character. You can be a rich person that's very charitable, or that's very um, has a lot of utility and does a lot of good with their wealth, with their financial wealth. But then you have other people that make more impact with little money, right? So the determining factor isn't the money. The money is the resource, not the source. The source is your creator and then your own free will. But first off, your creator. So don't put all of your eggs in your wallet, right? They say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your eggs in your wallet, because that's not success. That can be a factor of success. That can be a component of a facet of success. But just to have money is not inherently successful. Now look at someone's life. They did the study where they asked people in their elder years what their biggest regrets were and what they could change in their life and what they would do different and what they would do the same. And you know what remained the same is that they love the time that they spent with their family, and they would never change that. All those special moments. What they would change is that they would spend more time with the relationships that they had with their family and their friends and their peers, and they would focus more on the intimacy and the closeness and connection of that community, of that tribe. Yesterday, mom, you said find your tribe, right? That's very integral to not just human survival, but to our quality of life, to our experience mentally, emotionally, socially. That has more to do with our happiness than does our money. But for people who are living in relative poverty, and I do say relative because in America, our poverty is relative. We have to understand if you've never been to another country, you haven't really seen poverty. I'm just letting you know, not on scale. You might see it in individual places, but on scale, the poverty in other countries is completely different, especially what we consider the global south. But nonetheless, there are people with less that can do more. And there are people with more that do much less, that hoard their wealth. Some people are tested with riches as far as the financial riches, and some people are tested with financial poverty. And there are some people that are tested with mental wealth and knowledge, and there are some people that are tested in the darkness of their ignorance or the ignorance of where they come from and how they were raised and deconstructing that. Let's say you're raised in a racist household. That, in my opinion, is a poverty. That's a poverty of the heart. So would you rather a poverty of the heart or a poverty of the pocket? A true question that you should ask yourself. Which do you value more? Because there's a hadith in Islam or a saying of the Prophet, may peace be upon him. It says that there's one thing in the body, and if it is good, everything in the body is good. All is not just in the body, but all is good. And if this one thing is bad or diseased or putrid, then the entire being, not just the body, but the entire being is bad, is rotten, is putrid. And that one thing is the kolb, or in Arabic, the kolb is the heart, right? So if your heart is on, then you can be rich and still feel dirt poor because you have a poverty of the heart or a poverty of the mind. So where's your challenge and where's your abundance? No one's greater than anyone in value, but they are in character. That is the distincting fact, the distinction that elevates or lowers human beings, where we can be, in some cases, better than the angels because we have that freedom of choice. Or we can be worse than the beasts and the devils because we have that freedom of choice. So make your choice. Are you rich out of abundance? And what do you consider rich? Let's ask ourselves the question, what makes me rich? We could change our entire paradigm. You could be feeling impoverished right now. After a little contemplation, a little reflection, realize that I'm rich. I want you to count your riches before you count your poverty. Count your abundances before you count your what you're missing. And if you do this honestly, you will count so many of your abundances, so many of your blessings that you'll never get to your curses. You'll never get to what you don't have because there's no way you can enumerate all the blessings you have from every word that you utter, from the breathing of your lungs without you trying to, the beating of your heart without you having to say beat, beat, beat. Right? So money doesn't make the man makes the money or the woman. Just like uh, uh, um I used to say as a kid, like, I don't care if I have name brand clothes. I'm wearing the clothes. The clothes ain't wearing me. Right. So where are you pitting your where are you pitting your strength, your identity? Are you identifying with things? And if you identify with things, then you're objectifying yourself because you are greater than everything you possess and more. And you can't take any of this with you. So I'll end it on that. Value the things that you can take with you your love, your memories, the connections you have with others, the good deeds um, that you've done, and the good you've done on this earth. Live a rich life, a wealthy life, an abundant life, and that's not always a life full of a bunch of money. Okay, that's all I have.
So I have a comment before. I do have a little bit more, but I saw KL's comment. And I think he was speaking about the $10 billion. He says, my family would have $10 billion. And so I got a question for you because I don't want to misinterpret what you were saying here. It sounds like you're saying that if you had that offer, you would take the 10 billion and you would decide to walk away and leave it for your family. Is that what you're saying? All right. So you can get back to us on that. Um, Miss Brenda says more money, more problems. Um, let's see. Miss Brenda, we both, okay. KL says the love of money is the root of all evil. And then he says, Miss Brenda, we both caught that. Um, let's see. All right. So we'll stop it there. KL, I would love to hear if that is correct. Is that what you're saying? Because if so, I have a comeback for you. I have a question for you. So I want to share this. How do people change when they get money? And this is just something I Googled real quick while you were talking, Brandon. It says it makes them feel safe and in control. It also feeds their egos. But as we all know, even those born to wealth eventually have their struggles. The
Mm-hmm.
rich also cry, right? Because at the end of the day, you guys, at the end of the day, money can't and it does not buy you happiness. Look around you. Look at the issues and the struggles of the celebrities. First, why do we call them celebrities? And why do we see them as celebrities? Because they've reached a certain status of fame where people know them but don't know them. They have money to buy things, but their struggles and their issues remain. The money does not make the struggle go away. In fact, I think it feeds it more because when you have the money, you have this false sense of being safe and in control. And then when life hits you, you realize that you just can't pop them dollars. You can't just throw them dollars. You just can't take some shots and they go away. You can't go buy them shots, the tequila shots, and the problem go away. Because when you wake up in the morning, when you sober up, those things are still there. But you know what else is still there? You, your character. So wherever you are when you get the money is where you're going to grow. If you're in a seat of character and you don't choose things over people, I was trying to find a story that I came across about a man meeting a former classmate and thinking that, because of the guy was on a bike, um, dressed casual, he thought that he had not per se made it, the classmate. And so he kind of felt some kind of way about him, like sorry for him. Invited him to his house. The guy came. He had a nice house, whatever. And the guy was like, nice house, whatever, right? Talked about his job, what he was doing, and all these things. And then the guy invites him to his house. And he shows up, and the guy has well, he didn't know at the time. He's on this like um, plantation like place, right? Um, and then he finds out that the guy is the owner of the company that he worked for, but he doesn't look like it. So he's did all this bragging. He and his wife goes up and this guy's house will make theirs look like nothing. But he didn't brag about it. He lived it, but it wasn't him. It wasn't who he was. And when you don't know who you are, anything will add to you and change you. more in the direction that you're going, not change you as growth internally. So it really comes down to, like Brandon said, your heart, then your character. Who are you? Who are you? Why are you trying to do what you're doing now? Is it for the money, or is it for us as a people? Is it for you internally, or for you outwardly, so that people can see that? Can see that. So money, more money won't help your situation. More of you and more of God will. Guarding your heart, knowing when to say yes and when to say no. These are the things that, it's kind of like you don't skip kindergarten and go to get your PhD. Life is no different. If you don't have character, when you get more money, you can't buy more character. You can't buy more humility, more love. Because if you are feeding your ego before you get more money, man, you're going to drown your ego when you get more money. You're going to drown it. It's going to try to leave you. So just do it for the right reason. Check your character. Check your heart today. Do you want to make $1 million, or do you want to spend $1 million? Mike says people will literally sell their souls and their own people out. Now the KL says you can't buy character or class. Big Mike says money has become people's God. Now I overstand, not understand the real reason the dollar bill has in God we trust. People live and die for that mean green. Isn't it ironic that it has money has in God we trust? Really? You'll see how what's the word? Cognitive dissonance, Brandon. The
Uh-huh.
world will trip us up to thinking till we don't even know what we think or why we think it. And we don't even think about what we think about.
Who is their
Although
God?
it says take every thought captive. Take every thought captive. And don't measure it up against your ego or yourself. God's word, who he says you is, who he says you are, and who you are becoming. Student of life. So Miss Brenda, she says, I saw that on Facebook about a week or two ago, the story about the guy in the bike. I'm gonna find that story and we'll try to read it. And I thought I saved it, but I don't know. I saved so much. But it was really interesting. It was really interesting. And imagine how we see people. Remember the story I mentioned about the friend who showed up in the pretty red convertible and everybody just kind of flocked to her. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. And I remember just thinking, it's because of her car. They don't know her from Adam, but because she drives up in this pretty red car. And that's how we see people. That's how we see people. Brenda, remember the guy that parked down the Mr. Cates? Was it Mr. Cates?
George Case? Yeah.
George Cates, money man. Don't not spending the dollars on the things that don't matter.
Sold his
You
company for
know,
$4 billion.
right. We will spend 600, 700. Now let me just gonna say $1,000 on some red bottoms, and the red bottom is hitting the pavement, like you walking on the pavement. When there's a brother or sister out there just trying to get over, trying to make it, and you'll pass by them and not feel anything. You won't even whisper a prayer, right? So why $1 million? Do you want to make it or do you want to spend it? And on what? So you want more money to buy more things. You want more money to buy more things. And more things ain't gonna solve the issue. So KL, I was looking for your comment on that on your comment. My family would have $10 billion. I think, and I'm just gonna go with. I think you're saying that your family would have 10 billion. I couldn't rock with that, and that's just my take. I could, because I don't even think my family will be able to truly enjoy that money. To think I would give up my time with them, or the time with them, stop the sharing of love. Because what are they going to do with the 10 billion? They're going to buy some things that won't replace me.
And
Or
potentially fight amongst each other.
right.
Have you seen even at a funeral when you're supposed to be mourning somebody's death? I've seen plenty
And
of
it ain't
black
even
families.
$10 billion. It might be $10 that they fussing
Man,
over.
what? It'll be 10,000 in a beat down house, and these folks will kill each other. They
Your
will fight
mind got
over
to be
whether.
ready to receive.
Yeah, yeah. So without leadership, without guidance, that, like I said, the $10 billion could just be a test and a tribulation for them. It could be a hardship on them. It could be a burden on them as a family. So what if they got the $10 billion, everybody rich, but don't nobody mess with each other no more? All the family reunions, they don't go to them no more. Nobody thinks they have a need for connectedness anymore.
It's a
You know?
pretty way of doing suicide.
Mm.
It's just because you're taking your own, you would be deciding to take your own life for $10 billion. When if you might live the next day, God could bless you overnight with $10 billion and your life. So to
But they say,
me,
won't he do it?
yeah, won't he do it? And don't he do it? Won't he do it? He gave me the first parking space, y'all. But I had to wait on it. And I waited while I vacate back, right? In the car. I was cutting up. It's like y'all don't even understand. I'm waiting on this blessing. And you don't get in the way of my blessing.
Oh,
So, again, I just want to say, if that was your answer, then that's
I get it
suicide.
though. But
I mean, I
I
get
get,
it.
as a man, you want to give your family and provide for them money, but that ain't that to me. That's not all that there is. And like, if I wouldn't feel successful if I just left my family $10 billion. If that's all I
At the
left,
at the at the meaning in that you have to go away.
right, right,
Right.
at the
You just
expense
right of your
of
life.
of me passing on the history, the things I've learned, the love, the compassion, the things that are priceless. And anytime we try to put a price on priceless things, and no matter what amount we put on them, they just don't add up to what we are missing. The opportunity cost, the opportunity of not seeing my children, it ain't worth 10 billion to me. I'm sorry. Just one of their smiles is worth more than $10 billion to me. And would it be make things a lot easier? Sure. But I would never, Mom, I would never forsake you for $10 billion. Not a chance in this world.
And you know what, Brandon? Would it make it easier? We can assume that it would make it easier. But it's just a
Some things.
down payment. But a down payment on what? Because think about it, y'all. And for you, I can't imagine you saying, "Okay, yeah," because I want my mama selling the kids to have money. Money to
Yeah.
do what?
Right.
To buy stuff.
Right.
Money to do what?
To entertain themselves. Right.
Yeah.
When God is already going to make sure, and we have faith in that. Like, I have a positive disposition about the decree of God. I have a positive disposition that, like the bird, when he goes out in the morning, yeah, I'm gonna come back with a worm. Yeah, God's not
Hmm.
gonna leave me out to dry. So if I trust that God is gonna give me food, provide me food, not saying that I don't have to do anything, that I don't have to start from scratch and keep scratching, or that I don't have to plant the seed, but that it will be fruitful. And that if it's not, God will provide for me from a place that I can't even see. I don't have to know the outcome, right? I don't have to know the outcome just to know that there's going to be income, but I know
Hmm.
that there will, right? So I wouldn't give those things up, and I think we should, you know, really think hard about those things. But it's also, I will say this: there's different perspectives, and it's easy for us to say living in a house where I have electricity, where I have food and water. I know where my next meal is gonna come from. It's easy for me to say that. That I wouldn't take, that $10 billion from my family, because no one wants their family and their children to have hunger pains. Many of us say we'll give up our life to make sure that y'all are straight, you know, but let's not give up our life, give them money, and then not the tools to manage not only that money, but what comes with it, all the tests and trials and tribulations that might come with it. Because, like Biggie said, more money, more problems, and I really believe that. Um, so as we, as we close out, these are questions for us to contemplate, and it's not saying that KL is wrong. It's not saying that I'm right. It's not saying that I'm wrong. But these are questions, pervasive questions that we should ask ourselves to realign our hearts, our mind, our consciousness with our path of success. Because on this road to success, your heart and your mind are like your left and right foot. If your left foot is going to the left and your right foot is going to the right, then y'all not going in the same direction. So I
Mm.
think the purpose of this book, even of this passage, um, in a micro version, is to align those things together so that on the journey to success, we're going in the same direction. It balances our tires on the road. Um, so take those questions with you today. Take this passage with you, the quote and the affirmation. So, Mom, are you good with me to go ahead and close this out?
All good. Thank you guys for your comments and just being here. Being here. All right. So go
Yeah,
out and get that mo character. Go get mo character.
yeah,
Mo God. Right.
more everything.
Mo love. All right. So let's
Man,
close it
Mom,
out, Brandon.
let's close it. I'm gonna say one more thing. I've had my phone line number has been busted for a couple of days, right? So I should be getting my phone in the mail today, my new phone. And I ain't gonna lie, I slick don't even want it.
I figured that.
I slick don't even want that darn phone. You know, it's crazy. 2 days ago, I
Look,
was pissed. I
look,
was
Brandon.
pissed off. I was pissed off. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was plumb deep pissed off. Missing money, missing calls. Supposed to call people, can't get back to them. Got to hit them up on Instagram and all this other stuff. And you know what I did? I was messaging people and I said, you know what? Y'all just wait. I'll be back in a couple of days. I'll be back. And now I don't want to be back.
Ooh.
I don't
Ooh.
want to be back. I'm serious. I don't miss none of it. I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I don't miss any of it. If I had a beeper, it would be better. I want a beeper. I used to want a beeper as a kid. I used to see the grown-ups with the beepers. I want a beeper. Let me call you back. But I'm just saying, y'all, all these material things, it's really not what it's all chalked up to be. And I'll say last thing, your wealth comes at the cost of somebody else's sustenance. Many times, as an American, know
Mm.
firsthand that your wealth comes at the cost of somebody else's freedom. Your wealth and the privileges that you enjoy come from the proliferation and expanding of the American and Western empire and the extraction of resources from other places. My own blood, I did the test on ancestry DNA. Majority Congolese, Cameroonian, and Sudanese, but majorly Cameroon and Congo. And Congo, that's where they get all the coltan, all the cobalt for these phones and these lithium batteries and these electric vehicles. It comes from there. If you've never seen a mine with 40,000 children, I'm talking about under the age of 15, mining like canaries in a mine, dying every day, losing limbs. That's where your phones come from. Every time you upgrade a phone because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you just took a little shorty's arm. You just furthered a conflict in Congo, a genocide in Congo that you don't even get to see. And that could be your own family. Now imagine, yeah, you getting wealth and amassing wealth and you buying all these things, but where did those things come from? Did you mine that material? What are the corporations that you're purchasing from? Money is the root of all evil because it looks like it's good to us, but it's not. Okay? So let me go
Mm.
get these kids. These kids out here sound like they're about to get rowdy. So I'm gonna go be dad and spend $1,000,000 instead of a
Create
million.
a million moments
A
with them,
million
right?
dollars. How about that, right? But all right, y'all, let's get up out of here. We went another 50 minutes. We trying to do 30, but we didn't win 50. So thank y'all for rocking with us and staying in your seats or wherever you are and listening to the In the Season podcast. So today's June 6th. The title was Mo Money, Mo Money. And you know the end of that, Mo Money, Mo Problems, right? But Mo Money was the title. And the quote comes from Red Fox, the comedian, who said, "It's true. Money won't buy happiness, but it will make a hell of a down payment." And the hey Tupac, be quiet for me, son. I'm on the show. Thank you. More money. It's true. Money won't buy happiness, but it will make a hell of a down payment by Red Fox. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person you're going to invite to the show tomorrow, is there are people who have money and people who are rich. Being the latter is much more desirable. There are people who have money and people who are rich. Being the latter is much more desirable. And last time, there are people who have money and there are people who are rich. Being the latter is much more desirable. But ask yourself, which do you desire? Which is in the apple of your eye, right? And is that good for your character? God might be keeping you away from money because money would destroy you. God, you might be asking God for more money, and that more money will lead you straight to hell.
Destroy your relationship with him, your desire
Exactly.
for a relationship with him.
And you'll get further and further away. Who knows? So God could be protecting you in your poverty,
Yes.
right? Everything's happening for you, right? So that's all we got for you today, guys. A couple things to keep in mind as you go throughout the day. Remember that quote, remember this passage, remember the In the Season podcast, and remember that affirmation. Carry it with you, think about it, ponder it, and come back tomorrow being a better version of yourself. Thank y'all so much. That's all we got for you. We'll be back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications on the YouTube channel In This Season, the letter In This Season podcast. We love you. We'll see you.